Hello, Pastor Leo Cunningham, coming to you. I'm happy to be with you on this Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, or if you are going to eventually watch the video, we're uploading. My regular listeners or new listeners, I have been gone for a while. Quick update so we can get into this brief devotion for Ash Wednesday. On December 10th, 2023, I suffered a subarachnoid hemorrhage. It is a type of stroke. I spent 14 days in the hospital, 12 days in ICU. I am recovering. So those of you may know, those you may not, I will keep everybody up to speed. Effective January 1st, I was supposed to be transitioning to a new church in Toledo. That did not occur as of yet because of said stroke. So I am still in Columbus recovering. I am in Columbus recouping. I am in Columbus healing and getting better. I have enough strength and enough focus. I decided to try to do a brief devotional this Ash Wednesday to start off the 2023 Lent journey. The church I am going to, stay tuned. We're going to get you some sites and some links set up so you can follow us. You can watch us on social media. You can eventually watch us live. We're working on those components. But I just wanted to say hello. Allow me to reintroduce myself or introduce myself. Pastor Leo Cunningham. It is Ash Wednesday. It's a little after 9. A lot of you have maybe gone to Ash Wednesday services, noon services, evening services. Some places have Ash Wednesday ashes available all day long. Not sure what time zone you're in, if you're in the United States or around the world. But if you'll notice, sorry for people on the podcast, you can't see this, no ashes on my forehead. There are scriptures that go with Ash Wednesday. Isaiah and Matthew are the two I want to take a look at. First is Isaiah 58, 1 through, start with Isaiah 58. Let's just start there. Isaiah 58, verse 1, New Revised Standard Translation. Shout out, don't hold back. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. Announce to my people their rebellion, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet day after day they seek me, and to delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that practiced righteousness and did not forsake the ordinances of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God. Why do we fast, but you do not see? Why humble ourselves, but you do not notice? Look, you serve your own interests on your fast days and oppress your workers. Look, you only fast to quarrel and to fight and to strike with a wicked fist. Such fasting as you do today will not make your voice heard on high. Is this such the fast that I choose? A day to humble oneself? Is it to bow down the head like a bulrush and to lie in sackcloth and ashes? Who you call this a fast? A day acceptable to the Lord? Is not the fast I choose? To loosen the bonds of injustice, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your houses? And when you see the naked, to cover them and not to hide yourself from your own kin? Then your light shall break forth like dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Your vindicators shall go before you, and the glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Go to this Matthew verse. Start with Matthew chapter 6, starting with verse 1. Beware of practicing your piety before others to be seen by them. for then you will have no reward from God in heaven. So whenever you give alms, do not sound the trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may be praised by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you give alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your alms may be done in secret. And the God who sees in secret will reward you. And whenever you pray, don't be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room, shut the door, and pray to your God, your Father, who is in secret. Your Creator, who sees in secret, will reward you. Go into Matthew chapter 6, starting with verse 16. And whenever you fast, do not look dismal like hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces to show others that they're fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their rewards. But when you fast, put oil on your head, wash your face, so that your fasting may be seen not by others, but by the Lord who is in secret. And the Lord who sees in secret will reward you. I had a conversation with a family member years ago, got to be pushing 10 years, talking about a particular Dr. Seuss book about the Sneetches and how these were a group of people on an island who one day, one group decides to differentiate the other group by placing a mark on themselves. And this group decides to differentiate themselves by putting a mark that was different than the other ones. And there was a back and forth about who had which mark and which mark would allow you to do other things, have access, and there was war and there was tension. He said to me, this family member is atheist, said, this is what I think of when Ash Wednesday comes. When I see all of these people with these markings on their heads, trying to declare and let the world know that they're fasting. A few hours later, I'm getting ready for Ash Wednesday service. And I look at the reading that shows up year after year. For whatever reason, that conversation with my family member struck me in a very different way. I looked at these verses. Now, I understand the ritual and the symbolism behind Ash Wednesday. It's the start of Lent. It's 40 days between now and Easter. You don't count the Sundays because Sundays are little Easter. So if you look on a calendar, you actually count them. It's 46 days. But take out the Sundays of Lent, it's actually 40. I understand the ritual and the tradition of it is a symbolic act of reminding of the 40 days of Jesus in the desert after he was baptized, sent into the desert by the Holy Spirit to be tested by Satan. Another sermon for another time. But what if we took Matthew and Isaiah in a different way? This is just my take on it. This is my interpretation of what I'm reading. Where Jesus says, when you're fasting, do your hair, keep your face clean, don't make a big deal about it. Don't pronounce it to the world. Don't tell the world what it is that you're doing. From your sackcloths. This is jumping back to the Isaiah piece. And the ashes. What if we spent Lent 2023 doing the work that needs to be done for ourselves, for our friends, for our families, the ministry, the outreach, the reconciliation, trying to help people become whole, become better, to live fully into themselves, to fight injustice and oppression. Could that be a better mark of our walk with Christ than palm branches burned and singed, smudged on our heads? But Pastor, it's Ash Wednesday. It's a reminder that from ashes we believe we came, as ashes we believe we will return. And as I've said before, as I've actually still done the imposition of ashes on people, from stardust you came to stardust you return. It's a reminder of our mortality. December 10th, when the CAT scan came back and they took me out of the CT machine and took me back to the exam room. As they wheeled me into that exam room, and I looked and I realized that there were already ambulance transportation people in the exam room waiting on me. When the physician walked in, and I'm looking around, I see the ambulance guys. I know what this means. In fact, I even said to them, oh, I guess we're headed to Riverside. It's a larger hospital here in the Central Ohio area. And the doctor walked in and said, Mr. Cunningham, we have detected bleeding on your brain. We've got to get you to Riverside to get you prepared for surgery. And I thought to myself, bleeding on the brain, that's a stroke. Not knowing cognitive issues, physical issues. I'm in the back of this ambulance trying to keep the mood light, talking to the transportation ambulance paramedics, whose names I do remember. I'm not going to repeat here because I don't know, it might be a work violation. I'm cracking jokes. What causes one to want to become a paramedic? I'm trying to keep the mood light, but in my head and in my heart, I am terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. This is a stroke. When they get ready to take me into surgery, and there are people there who love me and are with me. When I get a phone call from my son who is in Florida on vacation with his girlfriend, and I tell him, I need you to do me a favor. Don't you come back. You stay in Florida. Don't try to get a plane ticket from Miami to Columbus. I'm going to be okay. I will see you when you get back from your cruise. Telling the people there that I love them as they wheel me away, knowing that I might not come back physically from this surgery. I could be different. I could die. To have spent the last 60 days thinking about that, thinking about and reading the stats and the statistics and all of the things that happen with this particular type of a stroke. It's been over 60 days since my stroke, longer than Lent's going to happen. There's part of me that's like, I don't need ashes on my forehead to remind me from ashes that I'll come from to ashes that I'll return. Because I am very well aware of that fact in a very different way. Very different experience causes me to have a different perception. So this Lent, 2023, this Ash Wednesday, I'm just making a suggestion. I'm not telling you what to do, but think about these words from Matthew. Think about these words from Isaiah. What kind of fast are we really being called to? What kind of fast are we really being called for? What is our fast preparing us to do? What can we be doing during our fast? Because one member of my doctoral cohort had on their social media page, Lent is not a weight loss plan. What are those things that we can do that would be better examples of what it means to follow Christ, to walk with Jesus. So the plan is this: at least once a week between now and Palm Sunday, next 4 weeks, I want to say maybe the next 6, the cognition's a little off. I need to look at the plan, is at least once a week to come on the podcast, perhaps come on the video once we get some more things up to speed. If you are listening on the podcast, St. Paul, UMC Toledo. We've got a YouTube page. In order to do live stream, we need more subscribers. Like, subscribe, share. If you're watching this on whatever social media I upload this video on, if it does upload, like I said, we're still running experiments. We'll have some links there. It's a journey. It's a journey that, if committed to, could offer a different way to experience God and all of creation around us. Nature, people, each other. What kind of fast are you going to be a part of these next 40 days? At least maybe think about figuring one out. And if not, at least come along for the ride with me. I mean, it feels good to have enough strength and enough focus to finally be able to get back to doing these things, to be able to share. Looking forward to the journey. Okay, it is 9:40. I've been at this for 27 minutes. Pastor Leo Cunningham, St. Paul United Methodist Church, Toledo, Ohio, even though I'm broadcasting from Columbus. We'll talk about that maybe in a different podcast. Thank you for being here. Look forward to being with you as this Lent journey continues. All of God's people said, amen.